Do you really need a lawyer after a Georgia car wreck? Continue to watch this video to learn the answer to that question. Hi, I'm Ted Spaulding. I'm an Atlanta personal injury trial lawyer and founder here at Spaulding Injury Law. This is the first question that we almost always get when we talk to a prospective client. Do I really need to hire you? Do I really need to hire an injury lawyer after a car wreck? And the answer is something that you may not get from other law firms. We answer that by saying, we don't know. You may not need a lawyer. Here are some of the things to look at, and it's really three important questions that kind of all work together to help you answer that question. First among that is, how badly are you injured? Now, if it's early in the process, the accident just occurred, you may not know yet how injured you are. You may be having some pain, neck, back, legs, something of that nature, but you don't really know how injured you are. If you fall into that category, simply based off of injuries, you may not need a lawyer at this point. It may be too early. Why is that? Well, our firm, we like to think we're different. We want to bring value to every one of our cases. And quite frankly, if your case ends up being one where you only need about a week or so of physical therapy, the injuries really ended up not being that bad and you recovered, it's great news. Doesn't mean that you have a very large personal injury claim in the state of Georgia. And therefore, it's probably something you can handle on your own. Now, an injury lawyer is always going to get a larger settlement offer than you would as an individual, but it has to be enough to make sense to hire that lawyer based off of the difference of what you would have been able to get on your own. And that difference is much, much smaller when it's a small injury claim than when you have months and months and months or years of treatment and pain and suffering. So that's the first tell. The second tell is, do you have any evidentiary issues in your case? So for example, if your wreck, the investigating officer came out and he couldn't determine who's at fault because maybe both of you had lights and each of you, at-fault driver and you, are both saying you had the green lights. The cop says, look, I don't know who is telling the truth or not, so I'm not writing a ticket to anyone. Well, that's an evidentiary issue. You know you're going to have a fight over liability. Who's at fault? You're likely going to need a lawyer from day one. So if you've got that scenario, it may be time to get a lawyer right away. If the at-fault party got a ticket, then more likely than not, there aren't going to be evidentiary issues. But you're not really going to know until you talk to a lawyer. So you are going to want to talk to a lawyer. You may not want to hire one yet. So that's the second tell as to whether you need a lawyer or not. And the third, and quite frankly, oftentimes, especially early on, most important in my mind, is how comfortable are you in handling the claim yourself, at least initially. If you want nothing to do with it, you're just way too busy between the injuries and work and family, and you don't even want to have a phone call with an adjuster, and you'd rather have someone else do that for you, well, then you need a lawyer right away. That's one benefit of having a lawyer in every case, is they can take that off of your shoulders. It may not be worth it if you're willing to do that kind of stuff on your own. So if you're very proactive, you're willing to work with the adjusters, have those phone calls and things, and protect your rights correctly, then you may not need a lawyer right away. So those are the three in combination that you need to be thinking through, factors as to whether you really need a lawyer at this point or not, at least in our opinion. Now, what I will say is everyone should at least speak to a competent injury lawyer, regardless of what your ultimate decision ends up being, just so you know what your rights are if you do decide to handle it on your own initially, and to kind of talk through some of those factors to get their opinion, understand a little bit more what goes into each of those, in particular with your case. So please reach out to an injury lawyer regardless to help you in that process of determining whether you want to go ahead and hire one or not. And if you guys have any questions or concerns, want to reach out to me, you can certainly do so. We have a contact form here on the website. You can also call me directly. I'd be happy to speak with you and answer any questions. The phone number is here on the website as well. And thanks for watching this video. I hope it's helped you in the process of determining whether you need a lawyer or not.